Welcome to Mission Majjhima, Ajahn.
Ajahn.
So Ajahn, tell us about Majjhima Nikaya 49, the Brahmanimantanika Sutta, the Invitation of Brahmā.
Yeah, so in this sutta we meet Bhikkhu the Brahma. So it starts off with the Buddha relating a story that happened in the past when he was just meditating in a grove, and he realized that there was this Brahma god, this high-level deity, very, very powerful deity named Bhikkhu, who had this pernicious view, this unhelpful, wrong, incorrect view that was specifically, this is permanent, this is everlasting, this is eternal, this is total, this is not subject to pass away, for this is where one is neither born, nor ages, nor dies, nor passes away, nor reappears, and beyond this there is no other escape. So a very lofty, celestial, permanent view of the world and specifically his capacity to see that. And the Buddha, seeing the danger of someone so powerful having a wrong view like this, because powerful people's ideas oftentimes trickle down, just as a strong person might just flex their arms, so too the Buddha disappeared from where he was meditating and reappeared in the amongst the retinue of Bhikkhu the Brahma, and says, "You had this view, and it's not correct." And in that moment, Mara, this other, the tempter deity in the Buddhist pantheon, comes and possesses one of Bhikkhu Brahman's retinues, Bhikkhu the Brahma's retinue, and says, "Don't disparage Bhikkhu the Brahman. Don't say this. Bhikkhu is right. There is this which is everlasting, etc." And the Buddha, as he is able to do, says, "I recognize you, Mara. Don't say this." The conversation continues with Bhikkhu again positing his wrong view, and the Buddha saying that he's correct. And then the Buddha says, "Actually, you are a powerful being, but I can see more than you can. My view and understanding of reality and of the universe is broader than you are. I can actually go where you cannot go." So this is both symbolic and symbolic of having a view which is broader, which is more expansive, which can see beyond the view of another. But specifically, the Buddha says, "I can go where you cannot go." And then he disappears from that level of Brahma, of the Brahma realm, and goes to a higher level of heaven, basically. And the beings there in the Bhikkhu Brahma's retinue could hear the Buddha's voice as he intended, the Buddha, but they cannot see him, and they're amazed because Bhikkhu Brahma thought that he had a more expansive view than the Buddha did. But Bhikkhu could not hide from the Buddha, but the Buddha could hide or could disappear from Bhikkhu. So the Buddha then exerts his view, a more appropriate view that what Bhikkhu thought was everlasting and was forever was not so. And then this very interesting phrase of Vijnanam anidasanam anantang sabbato pabang. There is this consciousness which is non-manifest, which is anantang, which has no end, which is luminous all around. Different scholars, different translators translate this in different ways and actually posit it to being said by either Bhikkhu or the Buddha. I believe Thanissaro Bhikkhu and Bhikkhu Bodhi take it as being said by the Buddha and referring to this level of view which is beyond that which Bhikkhu can see. And the specifics of this really does, it gets quite nuanced. So would recommend people read Bhikkhu Bodhi's footnotes, would recommend people read Mind Like Fire Unbound by Thanissaro Bhikkhu and Bhante Sujato's notes on this consciousness without feature. So, and then Mara comes back again, possesses another one of the retinue of Brahma, Bhikkhu Brahma, and the Buddha sees Mara again, and that's the end of the sutta. So Ajahn, you love these kind of suttas. So tell us, why do you love this sutta? What do you want to draw out here?
Yeah, big fan of cosmology. And one could say in this discourse, the Buddha faces God and the devil and defeats them both, which I think is a pretty great way of framing it. And, I mean, in one level, it also was a powerful conversion tool or powerful argument when speaking with Brahmins who believed as their highest deity, Brahma, the Buddha is beyond even that. I find a few things very interesting. One is there is a principle in Buddhism called scale invariance, which is a principle of chaos theory, and it's that a pattern manifesting on a small scale manifests on a large scale as well. And so with cosmology, it's interesting to look for the parallels between what you're seeing play out on this grand stage and just your own mind. And so one of the ones I find very interesting here is how the Buddha asserts his supremacy is he speaks about how he can disappear from Baka and Baka can't see him, but he can see Baka. Baka cannot disappear from him. And there's a really interesting sutta called the Chula Punama Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 110, which we'll get to eventually, where the Buddha says it is impossible that an untrue person, like a person of no integrity, could know of another true person. This is a true person. But it is possible that a person of integrity, a true person, a saparisa, would know of a non-true person. This is a non-true person. And that person of integrity could know of another person of integrity. This is a true person. This is a person of integrity. So just to frame that, what it implies is that as our virtue and level of our mind refines, we actually can really see if another person, if their sila is kind of broken, you get a sense for these things. And there's like an ability to see a bit more into the ethos and ethics and just refinement of chitta of another. Whereas if the chitta is very base, the mind, the heart's very base and very coarse, it can't actually assess accurately. So for me, this has resonance with this, divine psychic power manifestation of the Buddha disappearing, but still being able to see Baka, like a higher level can see down. So I think that's fascinating and resonant and an interesting parallel. The other thing is the jhanas map onto the states of the Brahma gods, the first jhana, this first Brahma realm, and so on. And the jhanas are said to be out of Mara's domain. Like Mara can't touch that area, it's not sensual. But Mara still has a foothold. The Brahma's retinue, the only Brahmas that really can speak in the suttas are Brahmas of the first jhana, because in the first jhana, there's this factor vitaka vichara, directed thought and evaluation, whereas those disappear in the second and third and fourth jhana. And so this kind of multitude of the retinue, they talk and they can articulate things. And they represent vitaka vichara, and they are the last and highest realm in samsara where Mara can gain a foothold. And you see him trying to leverage that little foothold to keep this from happening. And I think it would be, it's interesting to see, like, when the mind's calm, that's often when thoughts of fear, like, where's the breath? What happens if I stop breathing? Or something like that, to say, not even with, say, the first or a jhanic state, but just as one becomes calm, you can kind of feel the symbolic retinue, and Mara begin to use their last foothold to try to keep the mind from moving on to a more refined state. And that's very interesting. So just these psychological parallels between this, huge, play manifesting on a grand stage and just the simple, like, how our mind moves through calm and how it sees virtue and doesn't. Ajahn, what else would you draw out of this?
Just two small things. One of them is just that, as you noted, that Mara possesses even the mind of one of these celestial beings, an angel. And this is significant. This is pointed out oftentimes by teachers in the Thai forest tradition, that you can't, even if you hear the words of an angel or get some kind of divine revelation, you can't necessarily trust that. It's not necessarily the case that even an angel is going to tell you the right thing. They might be possessed by Mara. You really have to test things, even if it seems like a divine message. One small thing. Another is one of the most well-known chants, and honestly one of the most fun chants in the Thai tradition, which is called the Jaya Mangala Gata, which Bahung Sahasamabhinimita Saudantang. It's about 8 verses of the Buddha's victory and different ways the Buddha defeating Nalagiri, this raging elephant with his power of metta. Here, the second to last verse in that is about the Buddha defeating Baka the Brahma. Duga haditi bujagena sudata hatang. Brahma, Baka the Brahma had his hands tied tightly with the serpent of wrong views. So yeah, this is a popular chant which you hear especially in Thailand a lot.
Ajahn, what is the word of the week?
The word of the week is Brahmā, Brahmā, which means God or creator God. It comes up in Vedic literature, and here it's this class of gods in the Buddhist pantheon, and it can also just mean holy. So,
Ajahn, thank you. And we'll see you all if you're joining us for the first Sunday on Zoom in about 10, 20 seconds. And otherwise, we'll see you next week for Majjhima Nikaya 50.